The night shift holds a silence that doesn't exist during the day. It's a time when the ordinary world sleeps and something else wakes up. These are two terrifying, true inspired tales from workers just trying to get through their shifts. One took place in the quiet halls of a haunted pediatric ward, the other in a lonely grocery store, stalked by something that shouldn't be real. Whispers in the ward. Glenwood Hospital. A century-old building with arched ceilings, groaning pipes, and a past soaked in grief. Olivia had worked the night shift for almost 2 years, and by now, she thought she'd seen it all. A veteran nurse in her late 30s, she'd grown numb to the strange murmurs echoing through the old hallways, the flickering lights, and the half-glimpsed shadows in the periphery. But Glenwood's pediatric ward held a different kind of silence, not peaceful, stifled, like something was holding its breath. 8 months into her rotation, Olivia was assigned to nights in that wing. The children, when present, were quiet after lights out, and their parents often dozed beside them. Everything dimmed after 11 p.m. The far corner of the ward, however, remained sealed behind rusted double doors, a part of the hospital under renovation, or so the staff was told. 4 empty rooms, a narrow storage alcove, no electricity, no reason to go there. Until something knocked. It was 2:13 a.m. Olivia was charting vitals at the nurse's station. The only sound was the rhythmic beeping of monitors and the occasional cough from a sleeping child. Her coworker Manny was off grabbing coffee. Then, from across the hallway, came the soft, deliberate tapping. Knock, knock, knock. 3 beats. Calm, intentional. She stood, heart rate ticking up slightly. "Hello?" she called, walking to the double doors. Nothing. She leaned closer. Another knock, then silence. Her phone flashlight barely lit the small wired glass panel. All she saw was black. She hesitated, then cracked the door open. The hallway inside was ice cold. Dust swirled in her light beam. Shadows stretched unnaturally long. No movement, no draft. But the chill settled deep in her bones. She shut and locked the doors again. Later, Manny returned and admitted something chilling. He'd heard crying from that same hallway days earlier. A child's cry. But there was no one inside. They agreed, if it happened again, they'd go in together. That Friday, it did. At 3:07 a.m., Manny appeared at the end of the hall, waving her over, eyes wide. The doors were unlocked. Neither of them had opened them. And the knock was back, followed by the unmistakable sound of a child's giggle. They pushed through the doors. Each step echoed unnaturally. The first room was empty, but unsettling. Peeling wallpaper, taped windows, a faint smell of decay. Then Olivia's light landed on a child's wheelchair, pristine and untouched, placed in the middle of the second room. She'd never seen it before. "Why is that here?" she whispered. A soft giggle echoed again, this time from the alcove. They found a single black Mary Jane shoe, small, clean, with a label that looked freshly printed. No child on the ward had missing shoes. A sudden gust of ice blew through them. Manny dropped the shoe. They left, hearts pounding, and locked the doors again. Over the next week, things worsened. Monitors glitched, readings reset. One parent reported seeing a ball rolling down the hall, alone. One Saturday, Manny brought a real flashlight. They snuck in again, determined to record everything. The same wheelchair now sat in the third room, and on its seat, the same shoe. Then they heard scratching. Something small moved just out of sight. They followed it. The final room was pitch black. Manny's flashlight flickered and died. Olivia's phone beam caught dust floating and a painting falling off the wall. The creature, or whatever it was gone, but its presence lingered. They never went back after that. Olivia later transferred to another unit. Manny texted a month later. The wing had been cleared. Yet sometimes, late at night, he still heard giggling. Shadows in aisle 7. A family-run grocery store. Quiet nights, cheap lighting, rotten pumpkins, and something watching from behind the produce. Hank started working at Granger's Market just to make ends meet during college. He didn't expect excitement, just some late-night customers, maybe a few weirdos. But the quiet nights became his favorite, until the pumpkins moved. It began innocently enough. A tower of squash, apples, and pumpkins stacked into a picturesque autumn display kept getting knocked over every night. Probably some bored kid, his manager Della said. But security footage showed nothing, literally nothing. No movement, no hands, just produce suddenly rearranged. Then, during a late-night thunderstorm, Hank saw it. A shape moving behind the pumpkins. Crouched. Too tall for comfort. Clothed in sagging, tattered fabric. Eyes glinted like animal eyes in the dark. When he turned the lights up, it vanished, leaving behind a collapsed tower and a single spinning apple. Later that week, Della had gone home early with a migraine. Carter, the stock guy, was out sick. Hank was alone. Around 1 a.m., he heard metallic clattering. He followed it to the deli section, only to find wet footprints leading from a leaky puddle to the meat cooler. And then, it, tall, thin, distorted limbs, bent fingers. It stood behind the cooler door, hunched like it had never stood upright in its life. "Sir, you can't be back here," Hank managed to say. It stepped out of view. Then the power went out. Only dim emergency lights and the flicker of lightning lit the store. Hank heard footsteps, heavy ones. A jar shattered behind him. He aimed his flashlight and caught a glimpse. The figure sprinted toward the back exit. Its movements weren't human. Too fast, too fluid. Later, the police found nothing. But the muddy footprints remained. A week passed. Then one night, aisle lights began to turn on one by one. Motion sensors, no customers, just Hank and silence. He approached the produce section. The pumpkins were mostly gone now, replaced with wilted lettuce and bruised fruit. But something crouched behind the display again. This time, when it stood, Hank ran. He reached the manager's office just as the exit door slammed shut. The creature was faster than him. He quit the next morning. In the quietest hours of the night, when your workplace is supposed to be calm and empty, sometimes it's not. Sometimes the dark hides things you were never meant to see. Things that crawl behind doors, laugh like children, or move just out of frame. So if you ever work the night shift, listen closely. Some knocks aren't just the building settling, and some shadows. Watch back.